Okay, so I want you to imagine this for a second. You're walking down the street, minding your own business, and someone walks straight into you. Not the other way around. They bump into you. And before your brain even finishes registering what just happened, your mouth has already said it. Oh, sorry. Sorry for what, exactly? You didn't do anything. You were just standing there, existing. And yet some fast, automatic part of you fired off an apology before logic even got a vote. I want you to actually sit with that for a second, because once you understand what's happening underneath it, you're going to start noticing it everywhere. In your texts, your meetings, your relationships, your own mouth today. So let's take that moment apart, piece by piece, like evidence on a table. Let's figure out why so many of us have turned "I'm sorry" into a reflex instead of a sentence. First witness, your nervous system. Here's the thing nobody tells you about apologizing. It's not always a thought. A lot of the time, it's not coming from the thinking part of your brain at all. It's coming from a much older, much faster part of you, the part that exists purely to keep you safe. Researchers who study social threat response have found that for some people, even a tiny social friction, someone's tone shifting, someone bumping your shoulder, someone going quiet, gets processed by the brain almost like a physical threat. Not consciously, instantly. And the fastest way to de-escalate a threat, biologically speaking, is to make yourself small and non-threatening as fast as possible. An apology does exactly that. It's a verbal version of putting your hands up. I'm not dangerous. Please don't be upset with me. So when you say sorry for something that genuinely wasn't your fault, you're not being weak and you're not being silly. Your body is running a very old, very fast safety program. The problem is, that program doesn't always check the facts first. It just fires. Second witness. Childhood conditioning. This one's quieter, but it might be the most powerful piece of evidence we have. Think about how most of us were raised. In a lot of households, peace was the priority. Not necessarily fairness. Peace. And kids are incredibly perceptive. We learn really early which behaviors keep the room calm. If apologizing, even when you didn't do anything wrong, made an argument stop faster, made a parent's face soften faster, made the tension in the house disappear faster, you learned that. Not as a fact you memorized, as a survival pattern your body absorbed. There's a really common version of this. A kid in the backseat of a car, and their sibling starts crying about something that has absolutely nothing to do with them. And before anyone even asks what happened, that kid jumps in with, "I'm sorry." Not because they did it, because somewhere along the way, they learned that being the one who says sorry first is the one who avoids the yelling. That single experience, repeated over years, doesn't just teach a behavior, it rewires what apologizing even means to that person. It stops being, "I made a mistake." It becomes, "I am managing the emotional temperature of this room." And if that sounds familiar to you right now, I promise you're not the only one nodding. Third witness. The part of your identity tied to being the easy one. This is where it gets a little uncomfortable, so stay with me. A lot of people who over-apologize have built an entire identity around being low maintenance, easygoing, never the problem. And on the surface, that sounds like a nice trait to have, right? But underneath it, there's often a quiet, exhausting belief running in the background that your value, your likability, your place in a relationship depends on you never causing friction. Not even accidental friction. Not even someone else's friction that just happened to land near you. So when something goes slightly wrong, even something completely outside your control, a part of you panics just for a second, thinking, if I don't smooth this over right now, they might see me as difficult. And an apology becomes a way of preemptively diffusing a bomb that, honestly, was never even there. Fourth witness, and this one's backed by actual behavioral research, not just psychology theory. Studies on communication patterns have shown that people who score high in something called rejection sensitivity tend to apologize significantly more often in ambiguous situations. Situations where it's genuinely unclear whose fault something is. Not because they're more often at fault, because their brain treats uncertainty itself as dangerous. If it's unclear who caused the problem, the rejection-sensitive brain doesn't sit in that uncertainty comfortably. It rushes to resolve it. And the fastest resolution is just claiming it. It was me. I'm sorry. Even when the evidence doesn't support that at all. Now, here's where this gets really interesting. Because it's not just about being polite. There's a cost to this. A real one. When you apologize for things that aren't your fault over and over, your brain starts to actually believe the story it's telling. Psychologists call this a kind of self-perception drift. Basically, we judge ourselves partly by watching our own behavior, the same way we judge someone else. So if you constantly hear yourself saying sorry, your brain quietly starts building a case that you must be someone who's frequently in the wrong. Even if, objectively, you're not. You're training your own mind to see you as the problem in scenarios where you were just standing there. And it doesn't stop with you. It changes how other people treat you too. There's a well-documented pattern in relationship dynamics where the person who apologizes first and fastest, regardless of fault, gradually gets assigned the role of the one who's usually wrong. Not because of any actual evidence, just because of repetition. Take two coworkers sitting in a meeting where something's gone sideways with a project. One of them jumps in immediately with, "Oh, sorry, that's probably on me." The other one stays quiet, waits, lets the facts actually come out. And even if it later turns out it genuinely wasn't the first person's mistake at all, guess who the room remembers as the one who messed up? The person who said sorry first. Not because they were guilty, because they spoke first. And the brain loves a simple story. That's the trap. The apology that was meant to keep the peace ends up rewriting the narrative about you, by you, and in the eyes of everyone watching. So let's bring this back to that moment we started with. Someone bumps into you. Your mouth says sorry before your brain even processes what happened. Now you know what's actually going on underneath that. It's not random. It's not a character flaw. It's a nervous system running an old protection program, shaped by years of learning that peace was your job to maintain, wrapped around an identity that quietly fears being seen as difficult, all triggered by a brain that hates sitting in uncertainty for even a second. That's a lot of machinery behind 4 letters and an apostrophe. Here's the part I actually want you to sit with, though. Noticing this pattern doesn't mean you suddenly stop apologizing altogether, and it definitely doesn't mean you swing the other way and become cold or combative. That's not the goal here. The goal is just awareness, catching that reflex in the half second before it leaves your mouth, and asking yourself one quiet question. Wait, did I actually do something here? Or am I just trying to keep things calm? Sometimes the answer will genuinely be, yes, I should apologize. And that's fine. A real apology, when it's actually warranted, is one of the most valuable things a person can offer. But sometimes, more often than you'd think, the honest answer is going to be no. And in those moments, you get to choose something different. Maybe just silence, or that's okay, instead of I'm sorry, or simply nothing at all, because nothing was actually required of you. That tiny shift, repeated enough times, doesn't just change your sentences. It changes the story your own brain is quietly building about who you are. And it changes how the people around you read your role in every room you walk into. So next time you feel those 2 words rising up out of nowhere, pause. Just for a second. Ask yourself whose mess this actually is. You might be surprised how often the answer was never you at all. If this made you see your own habits a little differently, stick around. there's a lot more going on inside our minds than we ever give ourselves credit for. And I genuinely love to keep exploring it with you. So if you're not subscribed yet, consider this your sign. It really does help more than you'd think, and it means we get to keep having conversations like this one. Thank you for sitting with me through this. I'll see you in the next one.